What's up, guys? The Toyota Hilux and the Ford Ranger are some of the most stolen 4x4s in South Africa. So if you're looking for a double cab pickup truck in South Africa, those are some of the most stolen. The reason being, well, with the Ford Ranger, it has been around for a long time. The generation of the Ford Ranger, it may have changed, but I remember the first time I saw the Ford Ranger, like this generation, I think it was in 2010 or 11, and since that time until now, Ford Rangers still look the same. They may have changed. It might have, nowadays when the generation changes, some of the time it's just things inside. The body does not even change, so it might have changed. I don't know, but the current look of the Ford Ranger has been around for the first time I saw it was in 2011 until now. There's so many of them out there. That's why there's a need for parts in the black market. That's why they are the most stolen. So the Hilux, well, we all know that they share the engine and many components of the body with the Toyota Quantum. The taxi industry is not going to be buying new parts when you have a Toyota Hilux, or the Toyota Hilux, or what is that? The Fortuner, the Toyota Fortuner. So they're just going to come for your engine and some of the parts of your car. So that's why most of those cars are the most stolen. So again, if you are staying in a very not safe place, like the cities, yeah, crime is very high in those places, so the hijacking might just get to your car. And I know most people usually say a car will have insurance and it's perfectly fine, but if you know that the car that you drive is one of the most stolen cars in the country, just like the Hilux here excuse me, just like the Hilux here. The Hilux is a very great car. Like, don't get me wrong. Again, I don't have a problem against these two companies. The Hilux is a very, very, very beautiful car, especially the new one. A couple of years ago, a friend of mine, a colleague of mine, his father-in-law was shot in the head when they were hijacking him. They shot him straight on the head when they were hijacking him. That's like a grandfather, an old man. They shot him on the head when they were trying to take his Toyota Hilux. Shot him on the head, and then they took the car. And a friend, a guy I used to go to gym with. I never knew the guy. You go to gym with people and you don't know their names. You just see them, but you don't know their name. One of the guys, his wife was shot and she was pregnant. And the criminals who were looking for the car, they came and they took the car and they shot the wife and killed her, a pregnant wife. Now, there's many stories that happened. I remember there was also a story that was on the news where they were hijacking this Polo Vivo, and the mother had the child, a 7-year-old child, in the back, strapped on a seatbelt. And when the criminals came, the hijackers came with a gun, and she got out of the car and then tried to open the door to take the child. The criminals got in front, they drove off with the car, with the child hanging behind with the seatbelt on the back of the car. And they drove off. A neighbor saw what was happening. He drove behind these criminals on the Polo, and the criminals drove to the freeway with the child hanging in the back of the car, and the criminals disappeared on the freeway. You know how criminals drive when they are running away with someone's car. They disappeared on the freeway, driving extremely fast with the child hanging by a seatbelt outside the door. So when people hijack these cars, like, insurance is there, it's fine, but okay, life insurance is also there, but I don't know if you want to die. I don't know if people want to die. I'm not saying if you buy these cars you're going to die. I'm just saying I'm not interested in a hijacking experience. Anyway, These are two of the most hijacked and two of some of the most stolen bakkies in South Africa. So if you are interested in buying a bakkie and you are not interested in buying those bakkies, there's a couple of bakkies. I've made a list of 7 bakkies that are available in South Africa that you can buy that are not on a high risk as Ford Ranger and then the Hilux. So at number 7 is the VW. Yes, it's part of the VW, and the VW is one of those cars that are on the hit list, but the Amarok is not, because it's not that out there. It's not a car that you see at each and every corner. It is a very great looking car, and it's until now it was one of the most powerful. That's the most powerful actually that you can buy in South Africa. It was the only one with a V6. The Ford Ranger didn't have a V6. The Toyota Hilux didn't have a V6. The Mercedes-Benz X-Class didn't have a V6. I think it's only now that the V6 are coming, because all of them, they are gunning after the VW Amarok. So it is one of the quickest bakkies that you can buy in South Africa, and criminals are not that much interested in it because parts, like no one is looking for the parts in the black market, not as much as these other two. So you can buy it for yourself. It's available. The Amarok, the VW Amarok, is available in a 4-cylinder and in a V6 cylinder, in a V6. So if you're interested in a fast 4x4, you can buy yourself a VW Amarok and then just enjoy your car. At number 6 is the Mitsubishi Triton. Listen, okay, the previous ones, Mitsubishi had the I'm not sure if the previous generation was still called the same, the Triton, but the current generation is a beautiful looking car. The previous generation was just a very weird looking car. I would rather jump for one of the Mitsubishis from the year 2003 than buy the previous generation. That looked like a car that was cut in half. Anyway, the current generation is a very beautiful car, and it's still underrated. Not many people are driving it. Not many people are interested in buying it, especially in the townships. Especially in the townships where people where it's easy, where your security is not, that tight. It's just, listen, townships are not that. That's why people run away to the suburbs in town. So you can buy yourself a Mitsubishi Triton. I think it still comes with a 4-cylinder engine. There hasn't been anything about V6 like in the media. So you can buy it for yourself. It comes in a 4-cylinder engine, and it's a very great family car. It's beautiful, it's decent, and it's below the radar. No one cares about this car. At number 5 is the Mazda BT50. The Mazda BT50, for many years now, it has been one of the most neglected 4x4s. Like, you see it once in a while. Previously it was not that great looking, except if you get in general it was not a great looking bakkie, but it's still not that famous. So not famous, not that much stolen. People don't care about it. There's no demand for parts from millions of people in South Africa because there's only a few people driving these cars. And the new one, there's the new one. The new one also is just going to be the same story because no one is buying it. Like, you see this car, I think the new one has been out for a couple of months now, if not years. No one is buying this car. Like, no one cares. So if you're looking for a 4x4 that is under the radar, no one is buying it. You might be the only one in town, in the whole township, who buys it, in the whole street or the section who has this car. You can buy this car. It's just going to be under the radar. There's no demand for parts, so there's not that much demand for it to be stolen. And it's a very great car. I personally would have bought the previous generation because of that. It is under the radar. Even though it's a bit looking, I would have bought it because it is under the radar. I'm not going to be putting my child in the back of a Hilux or a Ranger in Johannesburg. That's not going to happen. And I'm not saying everyone who's doing it is dumb. Listen, we all have preferences, and there's a list. It's out there from insurance companies. We know cars that are on high risk. This is not one of them. And at number 4 is the Isuzu D-Max. Listen, no one even knows anything about Isuzu D-Max. Although it's a very great car, it's just a subtle car. It's not beautiful. It doesn't have that thing that the Ford Ranger has. I think it's just like the Mercedes-Benz X-Class. It's a very great car. I think you will enjoy it. Also under the radar, it does not have any V6 engine. It's just a 4-cylinder engine. I think you'll enjoy it as a car to go to work with and home every day, because in South Africa there's many potholes even in the cities now, so you end up needing 4x4 to drive around, so you can enjoy it. And it's also under the radar. It's also one of the cars you'll be the only one in the whole street, the whole section, who's driving it alone, when everyone is driving around in the new Hilux that all the criminals are looking for, that the whole black market is looking for parts for, or the Ranger that has been around for almost a decade now, and everyone just wants. Imagine, listen, okay, if you're driving a Ranger from 2012, imagine the amount of parts that it needs. So, and we have to get parts from guys who are driving other model years. So that's why some of these cars, they are stolen, because there's the demand for parts, and also some of them are being transported outside the country. I don't care about that, but mostly it's the demand for parts. So yeah, you can get yourself a Isuzu D-Max. It's a very great car. At number 3 is the Nissan Navara. Even the previous Navara was not that famous. Anyway, there's the new one, and it does not have the V6 engine. It's just, I think it's a 4-cylinder engine. There's nothing about, if it was a V6 we would know. Just a 4-cylinder car that is 4x4, that is just decent. And I've seen, I think, sport versions of the new Nissan Navara, and I think they look, I shouldn't say new, because this car has been out for probably 2 years now. I've seen tuned sport versions of this car, and I would go for it over the Ford Ranger. It looks decent, and it's under the radar, and you'll be the only one who's driving it in the whole section. So that's why it's a very great car, and Nissan is trying to make sure that it has that bit of sporty aggression, just like the Ford Rangers, but they won't get to the Ford Ranger, not with the Ford just moving around with the Ford Raptor. So yeah, you can buy yourself a Nissan Navara. It's a very great car. I don't think it will be in high demand in the black market, just like Ford Ranger or the Toyota Hilux. And number 2 is the Mercedes-Benz X-Class. Now the X-Class is what you get when Mercedes-Benz is just after the money. Mercedes is a company that is usually after is after class. It's a company that is just interested in being the best of the best. It's not interested in just the money. They are interested in the specific status in the class. And when Mercedes forgets about that and they just focus on the money, you get things like the X-Class. The X-Class is fine. It's fine. It's a Mercedes car. It just doesn't have much to offer, especially in the looks department. Interior, it's fine. It looks probably, I don't think it looks the best. I still think it looks like it's an unfinished product, but it's a decent looking car. The exterior, again, is a Mercedes making a car that is just for money. So again. So most people are not buying this car. Most people are going for the Ranger because this car, for that reason I just mentioned, it's just an underwhelming car. The looks are just underwhelming. That's why most people who have the money for it are even going for the Ford Ranger Raptor or the Toyota Hilux. Even people who have the money for the Mercedes, they're not even buying it. For that reason, it's an underwhelming car. That's a good reason for you to buy it, because again, it's an underwhelming car. No one wants to buy it. You can just buy it for yourself and then enjoy it. It wouldn't attract that much crime because again, it's a new car, and there wouldn't be that much demand for parts for it in the black market, because no one just wants it. I don't even want it myself. And number one is the Haval P series. The Haval is a Chinese, maybe Japanese, I don't know. The Haval is another 4-cylinder pickup truck. Now you see this car because it's very, very affordable, and there's many of them that are selling, many of them, but most people I see who drive this car are mostly white people. Every time I see this car, a person driving this car, it's white people. So this car is very famous in the suburbs, not in the township where there's a lot of crime and you don't have security. So it's a car that if you buy it in the township, you'll be the only one who's driving it in the township. It's not gonna attract that much crime because people don't know what it is. Most people don't know what it is. Like I guarantee you, even guys don't know what this car is, and most guys are not interested in it anyway. But one thing about this car that you must know, the reason why it's at number one is that it is the cheapest. It comes fully equipped. So when you're buying this car, it just comes with everything that you would have to buy or add extra money for in the Ranger or in the Toyota Hilux. In this car, it comes everything there for a price of 600,000, 700,000 or 500,000. When for the Ranger you have to cough out probably $1 million, and for the Hilux probably you have to cough out that much. This car comes with everything equipped. It's cheaper. It has the performance. It has a 2-liter engine, I think diesel engine or petrol, I don't know. It is, and also it is the biggest of all of these cars. And the Amarok is a bit wide, but it's shorter. Yeah, kind of flew. The Amarok is wide but a bit shorter. The Mitsubishi is just the normal proportions. The Mazda BT50 the same thing as well. The Isuzu, the Navara, the Mercedes, all of them, they're just normal proportions. Only this car is a bit longer, wider. It has a huge, not huge, but it has a comfortable, back seat. This is one of the few cars that has a comfortable back seat. That's why it's famous with mostly in town with white guys who usually travel long distances, because I think they know that it is. Remember, this car, it is famous in town with white guys. Every time when I drive in Johannesburg, remember, I drive people around. I see mostly it's white guys who are driving around with this car. Maybe because they want to take advantage of that when they take their long trips to Cape Town, to Durban, and you know what, guys, they usually travel during the week. But even you can also buy it. I would buy this car because number one, it has enough space. Number two, it's not known. It's not gonna get stolen. It's a car that you will enjoy. Like, this is not a car that's on the hit list. Call any insurance and then ask them, when you're buying this car, it's not on high risk, and it's the biggest and it's the cheapest. It has most luxury for free. So those are all the pickup trucks that you can buy in South Africa if you just want something under the radar, something that's not on a high risk, something that most of these cars, they are new anyway, and if they are not new, they are not known. So those are the pickup trucks that you can buy in South Africa if you're interested in a pickup truck, especially a under the radar pickup truck. Thank you so much for watching, and feel free to leave a comment, and enjoy. Please like and subscribe, and make sure that you press the like button. It helps a lot. Subscribe. Sharp.